Yo, it shows that I am live. All right. But before I get started, let me do my little intro. I promise I'm gonna get this situated with my Stream Deck and Stream Labs. We gonna get it. But hang tight. Let me get my intro in. All right. Yo, what's good? It's Monk Dan, and I'm back here streaming, yo. Yo, thanks for joining the channel. Before you get comfortable, hit the like button for me. Send me some comments, and if you have not done so, subscribe to me, baby. All right, so what I do on this channel is I like to share and learn through philosophy, um, and gather wisdom through philosophy, that is, I should say. All right, check it out. I came across this situation today, and I got my shirt on. I'm on the dark side. We're talking about the dark side today. All right, I came across this situation where I saw a few comments that seemed to be judgy, and we'll talk about it in just a second. But first, let me give my disclaimer. If you are religious, if you have this moral perspective about everything, life, or if you're this political uh, person, if you're just into politics and the law is the law and all that stuff like that, this is not going to be the stream for you. We're talking about individuals who have acknowledged, like myself, I am on the dark side. Uh-oh, 1 second. One second. Sorry about that. I wasn't expecting a late text. But anyway, um, if you have not acknowledged saying that you are on the dark side, this is not for you. This stream is not for you. All right? So once again, if you are religious, if you have this high moral standards, or if you are this political person that says you're going to stand by this and all of that stuff, this is not for you. So I encourage you to just move on. But if you want to hang around and listen, feel free to listen. All right, so check it. So we're talking about philosophies. So this shirt, I'm Coach Gang. Shout out to Coach of the Coach Gang. I'm Coach Gang, and I'm a part of the free agent lifestyle. And I don't want to associate myself. I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I'm speaking for myself of this lifestyle since I'm talking about philosophies, right? So being in the Coach Gang, we have a certain group of guys who are saying that we are on the dark side, right? We acknowledge certain things. We know about the JUCO. We know about the streets. And in my situation, I'm learning about the streets and dating culture. I'm learning about a lot of things, right? So there's this particular group that we have, and I don't want to go too far into the group because it's a paid group, and I want what we share in the group to stay with us. However, I came across some interesting messages, and I forgot the context of the conversation, but we were talking about something along the lines of some dark side stuff. Let me just keep it that way. I'll keep it simple, right? And I saw some comments that were very judgy, and in the comments, I spoke up saying, "Hey, are those things bad?" And in the context, we're talking about sex, certain things, some aspect of sex, and I saw some comments that were very judgy, and I was like, "Yo, oh, I think we have all agreed that we are on the dark side. So why are there comments that seem to be judgy? I didn't get that. That was very odd to me. And I texted in the group. I was like, hey, so are those things bad? I'll give you an example. And this may or may not be pertaining to the situation in the group chat. But let's talk about it. Let's give some examples. Let's say you are an individual who, oh, I'll give you an example like the Cassie and Diddy situation. How about that? I'll give you some real life situations. All right. So we found out that Cassie liked to get peed on, right? And if you're on the dark side, do you judge that? Or do you embrace that? Or are you curious about that? That was something that was very interesting, right? So let's say you were an individual who had not experienced that. I'll say from my personal experience, I've never peed or had someone peed on me that I can recall, right? I would feel out of place, or I would think that would be very judgmental if I were to say, she's nasty, or she's gross, or she shouldn't be doing that. I think that would be a kind of out of line if I'm saying that I'm on the dark side and I'm hearing about this situation. I'm not saying that is the specific case that I came across, but that was that was an example of how things seem to be very judgy. And once again, I have to ask the question, are we judging on the dark side? Right? So if you are into bondage, right? And another person is not into bondage, does the person that's not into bondage have the audacity to judge the person that's into bondage on the dark side? I thought about that. And I didn't get an answer. When I would text in the group, I was like, so as an example, I was like, hey, is that a bad thing? I didn't see anyone respond to me. And then I even asked, I was like, are we judging on the dark side? And I didn't get a response. And then I was like, holla back at me. No one responded. I thought that was very odd, you know. And then there was some, not to get too detailed about our group chat because it is a closed off group chat once again. But I did notice how there were some comments and there were some pictures being shared. And I was like, yo, I thought we were all on the dark side. Why are we making comments? Why are we saying certain things about these specific pictures? I didn't get that. I'm like, yo, that really bothered me. I was like, yo, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We are all here saying that we're on the dark side. We've all acknowledged that, right? If you are in this group chat, you at least have a curiosity for the dark side, right? But why is there comments, negative comments? These are not positive comments. These are they're very judgy, you know? And we don't have to even keep it in this particular group. We can also spread it outside the group. If you are participating in certain groups or activities, do you judge people who are not in your group? Do you look down upon others who are doing other activities? Like I gave the example with bondage. Like if you participate in it and another person doesn't, and we're all saying that we are in the dark side or acknowledge the dark side, do you see that the person that's not into bondage, do you see them a certain way? And the person that's not into bondage, do you see the person that's into bondage a certain way? I'm really baffled, you know. Just a small background, I haven't always been on the dark side. I've always been interested, but I wasn't, number one, I wasn't financially able to be on the dark side, right? So here it is. I've been on the dark side for a few months now. Let's say officially been on the dark side, and I'm learning and I'm witnessing certain things. And I'm like, wow, okay. But why are we judging, you know? And you know, one thing that I noticed about this, man, one thing that I noticed, it's not the women who are judging dark side activities, right? I find that very odd. It's guys. It's us men who are judging each other on our dark side activities. I just think that's very weird that guys, what's the word I'm looking for? We dick patrolling each other. I just find that super weird, you know? How about this? When we found out about Diddy's activities, right? We have this thing now, we say no Diddy. All right? Let me also say this. I am not defending Diddy, and I don't defend nobody on the dark side. I'm only taking care of myself and acknowledging what I do, and I'm speaking up only for what the things that I do on the dark side. I don't understand how if a select people are saying, hey, we are on the dark side. If we are saying that, why are we judging Diddy? I think that's very odd. And it's mostly guys. When I look on social media, it's guys. No Diddy, no Diddy, no Diddy, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is really going on? And I need some sort of clarity to understand, like, what the fuck are we doing? Are we on the dark side or are we not? If we're on the dark side, is judging each other a part of this process here? I just don't get it, right? Now, if you're on the outside, when I excluded at the beginning, I excluded the religious people, the moral people, and the goddamn politicians. We already know off top, those are the fucking villains of this bullshit. We know that. We know religious people do the most fucking dirt. We know that. We got exposure of religious leaders doing craziness. We see that, and I'm not trying to call any names out. That's not what I'm here to do, right? People that are moral, we see that they hold these moral standards, but they do the opposite behind closed doors, just like religious people and politicians. Politicians make the laws, but we find that they are the ones breaking the laws, right? We had the conversation about who's into all of these really kinky things, right? There's this idea that it's really married men that's really doing these things, who's providing the financial backing to OnlyFans. We're finding that out. We're finding out these conservative guys are really into kink play, right? But I'm not here to judge these guys because they have not acknowledged saying, hey, I'm on the dark side. They haven't done that. So that's why I exclude those guys, because I'm like, yo, you guys are playing some bullshit ass games with yourselves. So fuck y'all, right? I'm talking about us guys that saying, yo, I am on the dark side, right? Here it is. I'm like, yo, so what's good? Like, are we judging each other? So that makes us no different than the motherfuckers, the religious motherfuckers, these moral motherfuckers, these politicians. I think there needs to be some sort of clarity onto that shit, man. I really don't know, man. I really don't understand, and I need some clarity, man. Like, when I'm on the dark side, I'm here to learn and understand, experience certain things, right? I'm here to have a good time, enjoy myself. I don't know if you caught up to my old streams. I just posted a few streams, but I'm reading this book with Casanova, man. I'm reading this book of Casanova, right? And there was this term that I found out, libertine, right? I have to always get the quote of the word libertine. I have to get the definition because I don't want to misquote the definition. So check it out. Libertine. Libertine. Let me turn it up just one more time so you can hear the definition, right?
Libertine.
A libertine, all right? A libertine is, as a noun, is a person, especially a man, who behaves without moral principles or a sense of responsibility, especially in sexual matters, right? And then in my previous streams, I had broke some of that down. I was like, okay, so I have to put some parameters on this thing, right? So a libertine, which I'm identifying, I'm like, yo, I like that definition, right? behaves without moral principles. All right. I'm not a moralist, and I don't pertain and I don't play into the moral games, man. Because your morals can be different from this person's morals, and then we have to ask who created the morals. So here we are, we playing these ups and downs. You're right, I'm wrong. You're right, he's right, she's wrong. We playing all these little bullshit ass games, and I don't have time for that for that bullshit. We're human. We have sexual desires. End of story, right? Well, there's not the end of the story, because then we have to put some parameters on it, and I'm gonna talk about that in just a bit. And then it says, or a sense of responsibility. So that part I didn't agree with so much, because I do believe it is, as a man, especially in today's time, we have to be responsible. So I didn't understand or agree fully with that definition or that perspective. But I do believe that I can behave without your moral principles, or the quote unquote moral principles, right? And then it has some similar terms which I didn't agree with: a womanizer, a stud, a player, all of that. I didn't agree with those terms as well. And then they had a second definition as a person who rejects accepted opinions in matters of religion, a freethinker, which that part I definitely agree with, right? I do believe I am a person who rejects the accepted opinions in matters of religion. That's why, number one, when I said I'm excluding the religion people up out of this conversation, I do not accept your perspective on my life. And then it also says a free thinker. So I have the responsibility to think for myself. I don't need religion to guide me in my sexual pleasures. I think that's very stupid, to have religion try to dictate what I like. You know, whatever. And then as an adjective, it says characterized by a disregard of morality, which I disregard morality, because I'm like, who's right, who's wrong? Whose moral standards are you going by? You know? And then once again, the people who create the moral standards are the ones who are disregarding those moral standards, right? And then it says especially in sexual matters, right? So here we go. And then for myself, yes, I disregard the morality of sexual matters, right? Now that doesn't make me out to be some sort of sex crave guy. No, I'm not saying that. Once again, I believe that there are some responsibilities, and I'll talk about that in just a bit, that comes with sexual matters, right? All right. So my point, number one, that I wanted to say is that I argue that if you are part of the dark side, right, and we acknowledge that there are sexual activities happening, my rule is I say that we are not to judge, because that opens the door of hypocrisy, right? Example. So if someone were to, let's just use the example of bondage, right? So if one person is involved in bondage and another person is not particularly involved in bondage, I don't think that there should be any judgment on both ends, meaning the person that's involved shouldn't judge someone that's not involved, and the person that's not involved should not be judging the person involved in bondage. Why? Because that opens the door for hypocrisy, right? How are we going to deny, or how are we going to create these moral standards within the dark side? Both groups acknowledge that they are on the dark side, and you're participating in various activities. How can one be greater than the other? They're all a part of the dark side. So I just think that opens the door for hypocrisy, right? That's my first point. My second point is more of a solution, and I wrote some notes on how we can combat this idea of judging people, right? Like I gave the example today that I saw those comments, and I was like, man, like, wow, like really, like, bro, we really doing this right now? Like, no, I think there can be room for us to make fun of certain aspects of our dark side activities. Yeah, I think that could be fun. I didn't take it as funny, because the comment or the word, it wasn't in a positive connotation, if you will. I think that's the proper word for it. But it wasn't in the proper context. It was a negative context to that word, right? All right. So my solution, solution is to be mindful where you are on the dark side, right? So if you are into water sports, man, and first of all, I hope YouTube is okay with me saying that because I'm just going off right now. Yo, I hope I hope YouTube is okay with me saying. If you are into water play, hopefully that's an okay word to say. If you are okay with water play, how about let's just keep it to the real life perspective. So if you are someone like Cassie who indulges in some water play, right? Know your limit. Know where you are along this line, right? Right? Know where you are. Be comfortable where you are. Know where you are. Be mindful where you are, right? So if you are into that, that's what you are into, right? If you like to be into some group activity, know where you are. Know your role, know what you like. Be comfortable where you are on the dark side. I think that is a great solution, like to be mindful of where you are, right? So if you say, hey, you are into, I'm learning about some of this stuff. Help me out, man. Let's just keep it simple. If you are into group activity, right? If you know that's what you are and you like to do those activities, enjoy yourself. But be mindful, hey, that's where you are. Be comfortable with that. When you're comfortable with that, you acknowledge that, you're fine with that. Right? I'll give you a personal, I like pretty feet. That's my thing. I be looking at them toes. I wish I had that clip that Coach has with Ocho Cinco in Uncle Shay clip with Ocho. He was like, yes, I'm looking at feet. Yes, I'm looking at feet. I like pretty feet. So that's my thing. I don't judge someone that's not into that. Hey, I'm like, yo, that's not your thing. I know where I am. I'm comfortable where I am. I know where I am. I'm okay with that. I don't have to look at the next person and say, oh man, is something wrong with you? No, I'm on the dark side. I know where I am. Okay, that's my lane. I'm sticking to my lane, right? That's all I'm asking in terms of being on the dark side, is that we acknowledge our positions and where we are, what we do, what we don't do, and be respectful, man. That's all, man. The dark side has so many levels, yo. It's so many levels to this, man. I'll give you a personal, oh, let me make sure I'm not going too far on time. Let me give you a personal experience that I had, right? So check it. I'm on the dark side, right? And I had some JUCO activity. This JUCO here, once again, I live in northern Wyoming, so a lot is closed off to me, but I know there's some activity going around here. I know it's popping around here. I'm just not getting a lot of action. That's fine. But I had some JUCO down south up in Colorado, right? And so this person, I got a little bit experience of knowing a little bit about this person. This person told me that they were coming from a religion. When I talked about religion, so this person said that this religion kind of prevented them from enjoying sexual pleasures, right? But this person also said this was not, it was more of a cult than a religion, right? So this person is no longer in that religion. And this person was telling me that she's been out in the streets having a good time. Like, I'm like, oh shit, okay, wow, right? Okay, I'm listening. I'm like, so she was like, she's been having a good time with women and men. I was like, oh wow, okay, wow. So, and she's younger than me, of course, right? But the crazy thing is that she has so many more experiences than I have, but I didn't judge her. I'm like, I'm on the dark side, she's on the dark side. Okay, cool. I can learn from this experience, right? And then somehow we started talking, and uh, somehow we we start talking about a threesome, right? Not me and her, but we just start talking about the concept, or the conversation came up about a threesome. And I was like, you know what? I never had a threesome. And she was like, what? And I told her, I was like, yeah, no, I never had one. And I was like, well, I was presented with one, but it was in bad faith, right? And small backstory to this backstory. So this chick here, not the chick that's in Colorado, but this other chick from in Montana, she she stood me up. Like, we agreed, to meet and everything. And so I live in northern Wyoming, so I had to drive all the way to Montana. Luckily, I don't stay far from Montana, so I'm northern Wyoming. Anyway, and so I'm pretty much close to the city that's in Montana, right? And then she flakes on me in the story to that, right? And so I was like, whatever, man, But luckily, I had a backup. So fellas, always have a backup. Women flake, man. Let's just keep it 100. Women gonna always flake. So that's why coach always teaches us about having leverage and options, man. Luckily, I had some leverage, and I had another backup option to that situation. So anyway, girl hit me up eventually again. The one from Montana, talk about when can you be free and all that. I was just like, I don't know. I'm busy, kind of fading off. Like, ma'am, you already stood me up, so I ain't trying to hit you up. She hit me up on the dating site again and all that bullshit. She trying to reel me in. But then she tried to reel me in with like a few days later or some shit like that. I can't remember. But she tried to fade me up with a threesome with her and another chick, right? And so I was like, nah. I'm not doing that, man. The vibe was all off. You already flaked on me, and it was just, the vibe was already terrible. And I was sharing that with the girl from Denver. I told her anyway. She from Denver. Anyway, so she was like, oh man. So she was like, you know what? She started sharing some ideas about a threesome. She showed me a friend that could possibly, I think it was a shit test, but anyway, it was all good. But she was like, oh, I have a friend that could possibly be interested in a threesome with you and I. I was like, oh, okay. So she showed me a picture. I was like, a video. They were already in some activity, right? So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, your friend, she kind of cute. She's not as cute as you though, but I was like, yeah, she's cool like that or whatever. And that was the end of the story to that, man. But I said all that to say is that I didn't judge her. Hopefully, she didn't judge me. But I'm just trying to make a point of saying, hey, man, like real talk, man. If we're on the dark side, why are we judging each other, right? Why would I get to this moral standard of saying, oh, well, this and that? Like, yo, we're on the dark side, right? Hopefully that point came across well for you. But anyway, let's go on to the next point. All right. So if you are listening to the stream and you're like, yo, so what are you saying about you being on the dark side? Are you saying that anything goes? What are you saying, right? Because it can come off as me sounding as if I'm like, yo, we just out here just doing whatever, doing who and whatever, however and all that. No, I'm not saying all of that. No, I am not coming off saying it from that perspective. Once again, I am new. But also, I do think there should be some responsibility here, man. I think I wrote some little small notes. And I do believe that there should be a safe and responsible environment for everybody, right? I think that as an adult, because all of this is from adults' perspective, right? And I know that we're human and everybody's not going to follow these standards, and everyone has their standards and what their preferences and all of that. I got all of that, whatever. What I am saying from my standpoint, and if you are a person who is like-minded in terms of responsibility and having it safe, the environment safe, the situation safe, I'm all for that, man. That's what I'm advocating on my end. Yeah, we can all have a good time, but I want to make sure that I'm safe and the person that or group, whatever. I don't know. I just want to make sure that That person is safe, I'm safe, and we're all responsible. I hope that's clear enough, right? One thing that coach teaches us, man, is aftercare, man. As men, I think that we have to step up in our aftercare with women. I'm not saying that's a preventative measure and all that. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying from my perspective, I want to make sure that that the person that I'm involved with, that they know that, hey, I'm responsible, in terms of saying, hey, I want to make sure you're safe. I want to make sure that I'm doing my part in protecting what we had, and just being responsible, man. Man, I don't want to pull out situations, but as an example, man, Uncle Shay, man, like, I don't know the full details of that situation, man, but it's been presented to me, and I'm not siding for or against him. That ain't, hey, that's out of my hands. But I do believe that Unc, in some part of that situation, wasn't responsible, man, and that's what I'm saying. I want to just be responsible. Does that prevent all faults and all kinds of craziness? No, it doesn't, man. And in today's world, man, it's crazy out here, man. We know this, man. We know false allegations happen all the fucking time, man. It's sad. It's our society, man. It's crazy. It's man. It's tough, man. We know false allegations happen all the fucking time, man. So a person can be responsible, and false allegations happen, man. So I don't know how to prevent that. I'm learning as I go. I'm learning from wise people who's like, yo, handle yourself, be responsible. So that's the end of that. That's what I'm trying to get to. And then also, being on the dark side, man, I kind of hinted to this, man, but be respectful to other people, man. Like when I was listening or reading the chats, man, from our group, I was like, yo, man, you're not being respectful, man. Like, I'm not here to, once again, this is not a moral plea, but I'm like, yo, we're all on the dark side. Why is one person making negative comments about somebody else's preference? I don't get it. We can make jokes about it, but why are we having a negative connotation to it? Like, why are we having this negative attitude towards someone's preference? I'm like, damn, man, that's kind of like, wow. Like, once again, it kind of leans towards the hypocrisy, man. I don't know, man. Holla back at me, man. Let me know what you think about that one, man. That was all I had for my notes, man. That was something that came across my mind. That was just a little bit weird, man. I just didn't know how to handle that, man. And I wanted to get Coach's perspective, but I didn't want to derail his show, man, and kind of take it to another level and all that. I don't know, man. I just, it's weird, man. I think that's super weird how us guys, we judge each other, yo. I think here's the thing. I think there is a way that we can expose each other to different tastes, if you will. Let's say it that way, right? If you just like gorditas and you dealing with gorditas on the dark side, okay, cool. That's what you like. However, what if someone says, "Hey, let's try you with some flatbacks"? I think that's fair. I think that's an idea thing. Hey, if you like gorditas, you like gorditas, but try some healthy side stuff. I don't know. I'm trying to make it clean for you too. But I think that's fair, right? You're on the dark side. Why not? Why just stick with fast food? Why not try the healthy perspective of being on the dark side? I'm okay with that. I like that idea. If you want to sample this and that on the dark side, I think that's fair. But I don't know. For us guys, man, it just seems like, man, we dick policing each other, man, and I think that's foul, man. I think that's foul. Now, if you keep having low standards about certain things, then okay, hey, bro, We gotta, you know, okay, bro. I see that. I see what you choosing. How about you try some high premium activity? You know, I think that's fair. I think that's within the bounds. You know, if we cool, if we know each other, right? That's what all I'm saying, man. Because we don't do that to the OnlyFans, right? Now I know some guys in the sphere that we have exposed, like some guys that you know talk crazy to the girls in this on OF. Hey, you know, you did it, but we found out those guys are some of the guys who are funding the OF. You know, so I'm like, bro, come on, man. I don't know, man. It was a weird conversation, or it was some weird thoughts that I had. I was like, yo, is that what we doing though? Really on the dark side, man? Are we keeping it 100 with each other? You know, are we respecting each other's preference? Once again, I like pretty feet, so are you gonna judge me about that? Right? That's what I like. What does that have to do with what you like? You know, I don't know, man. Holler back at me, man. Let me know, man. That was something that was on my mind. I just want some clarity, maybe a different perspective on how to look at this. I'm still learning. There's a lot of stuff that I haven't done, man, and I wanna enjoy some dark side. You know, I wanna enjoy myself. You know, I wanna boss up. I wanna enjoy my life, man. And I'm not looking for someone's validation. No, 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 no. That's once again from the definition of the Libertine. I'm a free thinker, right? But I also want to be mindful. Like, okay, if we're on the dark side and I'm getting some hating activity on the dark side, I'm like, okay, so is this what the dark side is about? I thought we were all on the dark side. I thought we were all doing our thing, man. I don't know, man. Holler back at me, man. Let me know what you think, man. All right? Let me hit you out with my outro, baby.